Right. Yeah, what
Wait,
up?
how to flip my camera? My bad. There we go.
Take your time. How you doing, brother?
What's good, man? How's everything?
Oh, you got the suave mustache going on.
It's quarantine times.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, man. I'm doing all right. I'm just up trying to scour the internet, trying to figure out how to do this quarantine marketing. I'm just like trying to engage on all the platforms.
Quarantine marketing. That's some next shit. That's like guerrilla marketing 2.0.
I know. Well, it's already what I was used to doing. I've always like I kind of feel like I'm being let off easy because the one thing I've always and actually this would be a different time because I'm making a little bit more money, but like I'm always ashamed of myself of like I've only really released a couple projects. Like this is really my third project, but like I never did a lot of like street marketing where I was like just out passing out flyers on the street. Always been like or sticking up stickers. I've always been
Right.
ashamed of that. But like this is like totally I can't even say totally my element because I don't really know what I'm doing, but just like being up, just like liking things, commenting, sending people posts, just like little by little, just like 3 or 5 likes at a time, trying to build up views on the record. Um,
Yeah. How long have you been doing it for now? Like with that level of effort?
well, it really started since trying to get my live together. Like I really pushed. I don't even know if even did as much as I could have, but like I really pushed on that rollout, and I'm still learning different little things. Like on this and trying to get my live together. I probably could have done more, but like a lot of it was like making sure I had art. Um, One is like making sure that the project is right because to me like I learned this years ago. Like the project is the script for the whole rollout. Is a script for the whole marketing campaign. So whatever
Yeah,
the project is, like the project is going to dictate what kind of art you do, and the project is going to dictate kind of like
that makes sense. Yeah.
you know what I mean. And so you're just using that to put things out. And so like to me, it's like trying to put the project together as well as you can, and then trying to make the best art you can for the project. Um,
Right.
that
That draws people in. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even realize how much it would. Like, I think it's like people. Anya, my girlfriend Anya was already telling me today. She was like, people are very dubious when you like tweet at them or whatever and try to promote your stuff. But I feel like at least if that's true, at least if you have like a pretty good looking album cover, that at least like, well, it can't be that bad because the album cover
Yeah.
is good. You know?
You know what? That just makes me smile right there was the you did like Hey Jude over Juvenile, Back That Ass Up,
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
which is hilarious. But
Yo, Christopher Robin.
but you posted you posted it. I forgot. I was following some conversation you were having, some debate you were having, and I saw that you posted that, and a person I guess must have looked at it and they were just like, "What?"
Yeah, I didn't even think I finished. Like the quarantine, like ran right into me finishing promoting that project. Like the promotion for that kind of went away because I don't know, I just so blindsided by everything, and then it and then like like I didn't have any time to prepare for this rollout. Yo, Christopher Robin, good night. I didn't have any time to prepare for this rollout because I was home, and then like I was like I kept thinking during like in the first 2 weeks, I was like, anybody who has a project to fire out should fire it out now, bro, because people are home, people
People are
have
home,
an
yeah.
audience, right? And then Mandela kept hitting me and was talking about, man, I'm trying to get equipment so I could record in my house. I'm sick of that recording. And I was like, because I had this project in the tuck, and I was like, once the quarantine's over, I'm gonna finish it because I was trying to release it on Teddy Riley's birthday in October. And once I saw that they tried to get him to battle, I was like, oh shit, I gotta let this thing fly now. I gotta
Oh,
let
so
this.
you had it done already.
I had it like 75 to 80% done. So I actually had
Got
to
it.
go through and like do a bunch of mixing and then luckily my engineer Craig, I don't know if you ever met him, but he
Craig, yeah, I met Craig, yeah.
yeah, Craig, a little pioneer. He he had like an app where you could mix remotely. So he was mixing, and I could hear him mixing live from his house. And
Wow, that's
yeah,
some new shit.
yeah,
Okay.
that's some new shit. And then so yeah, we had to like just fix a whole bunch. Luckily, I had because yeah, this record Trip, I stopped working on it to do trying to get my live together because and I was
Hmm.
working on that. Mandela gave me the idea, like the idea to do trying to get my live together was really Mandela's. And then once that idea came, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this shit, I gotta do it now. I found those musicians and I just spent like months just working on that. So I
Yeah,
dropped Trip and then once trying to get my live together came out, then I went in and did that covers record and worked on Trip at the same time. So Troop was like mostly
that's
mixed. It was like 80% done. And then once last weekend happened with Teddy Riley, I was like, I gotta knock this shit out. So I just took 4 days. I got the album cover done at the same time. I got the mixing done, and I just tried to
album
fix.
cover is dope, by the way. Album cover is dope.
Yeah, it's just like on Instagram, I try to follow like a lot of artists, like just to see cool art, but also I'm always thinking like, what kind of project am I working on? Who could do the album art? And I found this lady out of nowhere. It was just Japanese lady who paints flowers and kind of
Yeah,
paints like kind of like realistic figures. And I was like, oh, she is that. It'd be great to use that for something. And then, um, yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit that went into it. Kita was also like all about these vision boards a couple years ago, and like so I like do a lot of mood boards when I'm trying to plan the album cover. So I had like a lot of references of like um uh pieces from that era, from the New Jack Swing era. So like
yeah.
that when I was like, oh, if I had this lady do like her flower stuff, but in something that has the same kind of like design aesthetic as that early late 80s, early 90s stuff, that shit would be super fly. So
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
I was lucky I was able to find that lady. Yeah. But
I can dig it. I can dig it. I can dig it.
yeah, man, I'm super happy about it. So this is so interesting that I'm glad you wanted to come on and debate this with me because um uh like I was just talking to somebody about this the other day and I always want to talk about this because like I very much disagree with this idea that like hip hop is a contact sport, hip hop is competitive, blah blah. Like and I'm I came up like battling. I battled a lot in college, like, and I love battle rap. Like, I follow Hollow the Dawn. I follow everything that he does. You know what I mean? Like, I love
Mm,
battle rap, but like, my favorite rapper is Common. You know what I mean? Like, and like Slick Rick and Q-Tip. And not to say they're not competitive, but like, but even like with Hove and Nas, I just have always been like, um, it just seems like uh like how do I put this? I'm trying to come up with a good metaphor. Basically, the best thing I can think of is like when I was a kid and I was like in wrestling. I wasn't a good wrestler. let me put that straight up. I wasn't good at all. I was super out of shape. I never got in shape. I was really bad. But everybody on the team would always be like, "Oh, I got to beat this guy from this town. I got to beat this guy, and I got to beat this guy." And I would always think like, "Why don't you just work to beat whoever the best wrestler in the world is? Why don't you
mm.
just train to do that?" And then you never have to worry about the guy in the next town because you always know, well, I'm training to beat like whoever the gold medalist is in my weight
Right,
class.
right.
Like, I'm not just trying to, okay, he does this and that. Like, I'm not, that's not saying you don't have strategy, but like, it wasn't about strategy.
So
It's like
let
they
me
were just trying to be a little bit better than the person next to him.
let me ask you this, because first, before I even get to the nitty gritty of it, I want to understand: was there context to B Dot's comment? What was he referring to when he said hip hop is a competitive sport?
That's a
Well,
really good question. Let me look back at his tweet because I just opened it up. Um,
because I feel like that'll give me a little bit more clarity. But I mean I do think the facts are the facts
yes,
when it
yes.
comes to that.
Let me look and see if I mean, the only thing he was JD versus Puff. The only thing he's probably talking about
Oh, it's because of
versus.
all the battles and the Instagram live shit that they're doing now, right?
Yeah, yeah, and he had just done probably a big long talk with Jermaine Dupri talking some shit. So I think that's what it was about.
So then let me ask you this: you don't want to see Jermaine Dupri versus Puff Daddy?
Oh, of course I want to see it. Yeah,
That shit would be fire.
yeah, of course I want to see it. But here's
And
the thing: they're gonna be playing beats that they made from their whole
careers, right?
from their whole career, right? And
So Cat, what's up?
yeah, and they're like they were probably being competitive when they made those beats, but like the songs, like when Jermaine Dupri wrote Confessions, he wasn't thinking, oh, I'm gonna bust these niggas ass with Confessions. You know what I mean? That song is about something that really happened, and everybody thinks it's about
Wait, hold
Usher.
on for a sec.
Yeah,
Hold on for a sec. Sorry.
all right, no problem.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, my bad. Go
No,
ahead.
no,
Go
no
ahead. My
worries.
bad.
Um, Everybody thinks that song is about Usher and Chili, and really, Jermaine Dupri says that shit was happening to me that he was singing Confessions.
Right.
So to me, these records that we love that mean a lot to us, they don't come from I'm trying to bust somebody else's ass. They come from something real that happened to that person that they're trying to express. Like The Evils isn't Jay-Z trying to come from somebody else's head. The Evils is him trying to express some trauma that he went through.
Yeah, but I don't think that gives the full picture. I don't think that gives
Okay.
the full picture.
Okay.
Because take the Evils, for example, and I totally understand where you're coming from, but for him to get to the space where he could even write the Evils at that level, he went through a competitive process. You feel me? Like, and he even said it himself in that when he was young, he was doing the fast flow, he was doing all that, and then but he hadn't lived enough life yet. I think that was his exact quote. And then he did live life, but by the time when he was older, he was like 26 when he dropped Reasonable Doubt. He already went through that process, that competitive process, to where he could even put it that way.
I gotta really think about like my own, like how I have matured as like not only a writer but as a song maker, and like to me there is a competitive element. There is an element of I'm trying to be the best. I'm trying to be the best. But like if I look deeper at that, which I could also interpret that as is like a bunch of people really inspired me. A bunch of people made me feel like they were better than me, and that made me go like, oh wow, I want to learn more. I want to learn from this person. I want to absorb what it is they have to teach me. I want to practice more. You know what I mean? Like, um, and it's like I could be like, oh, I'm gonna bust their ass, but like really the only reason I felt that way is because they first astonished me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I
Right.
always feel like that's just like the hard way of being like, yeah, I'm gonna bust your ass. I'm coming for your ass. And that's really the way of saying like, wow, you really inspired me. I don't know if I could do what you did. You know, that
Right.
is
Right.
really great what you made. You know, and and I respect that and I understand that. Like I was saying, it's like the handshake hug in the hip hop culture. It's like we gotta we gotta like add this like layer of bravado and machismo
See,
onto our
I
interaction.
disagree with that part. I
Okay.
disagree with that part. I feel like you might be looking at it different than me in the sense that I feel like when those guys have that competitive moment, especially if it's two guys that are well matched on the same similar level of skill, and they give each other a good run, that they're not going to do the handshake after that. They're going to do the hug. You
Okay.
feel me?
Okay.
Like the competitiveness is going to bring that bond out more. It's almost like two boxers going at it, and at the end they just respect each other more because you just took me 12 rounds. Like, oh snap, you just took me 12 rounds. I gotta respect you. I feel like that's the other side of it that people, you
Mm,
might be missing that side of it right there.
mm.
Because think of
Yes. Hmm.
that era, all the great rappers of that era, they all went through that sort of competitive track where it's like, yo, Jay is the guy from Marcy Projects. He's the best rapper at Marcy Projects. Now he's got to go to Queens and he's got to face the best rapper from whatever projects that is
I live
or
right next
whatever.
to Marcy Projects, by the way, which bugged me out. We were walking past it. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah.
yeah. But I'm like that whole era. That was the sort of culture. That was the lifestyle. Those were the artists that came out of that sort of environment. And then if you look at it compared to today, it's like, come on,
Wait. No, I'm not following you now. What is it?
like it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. You know what I mean? Like, to just the fire is not there. I don't feel like the artists are pushing themselves as hard as they could, and as everyone is
Really?
comfortable. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the artists, and I'm just saying generally speaking, there's always going to be exceptions, are are very much complacent with, even like, look at the internet
Mm.
right now. You can go on YouTube and you can type in any artist space type beat, and you can get a ASAP Rocky type beat, you can get a Drake type beat, you can get a whoever type beat. Like, people are comfortable with that. Like, in other words, I don't feel like I have to make my style. I don't have to make something to beat the next style. I can just do that type style. Like, oh, I'm gonna just do the Precious Gorgeous type track right now, and everyone's comfortable with that. It feels
That's
like, to me.
that's difficult for me to say because, like, I mean, that's how I learned to rap. Because I have two. So I often say, and I believe this, that Illmatic and Reasonable Doubt are not those two artists' best albums. I don't believe that, and they're
Sheesh.
not even neither of those are even close to the top for me.
Yeesh.
So,
Yikes.
but I often say that those two albums taught me how to rap. Like, I would listen to those albums over and over because I know they were the gold standard. I don't think I was so much listening to them for enjoyment, but because I knew they were the gold standard of rap. So I would listen to them over and over until the rhyme schemes and the patterns and all that, and just this sort of um, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the fabric of how they were rapping. Like, I could absorb it. You know what I mean? So my early raps are. It's not that they sound like, but you could hear it in my rap. You could hear Mos Def and how I was rapping. You could hear Eminem and how I was rapping. You could hear Nas. You could
Mm,
hear Jay. You could hear. You could hear Cannabis. You could hear all of it, all in how I was trying to rap. And,
right.
like, just like in art school, when I went to art school, like, the only way that is really proven to teach people is you do master studies. You find a painting or a drawing from a master painter, a master drafter, and then you try to copy it exactly, and that's how you learn. So, like, if somebody's out there making tight beats, yeah, they're probably doing that, um, um, probably to cash in, probably to ride the wave, but also to probably learn to perfect the style. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I don't, I don't personally um, see anything wrong with that because I don't know how you can emerge into your own voice unless.
No, I agree with that, but if I guess what I'm saying is, if you
No.
never have to, if you never have to now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, what up? If you never have to take that out onto the competitive circuit, so look at it like this now. All right, so say you're early on, right? You're at that, back at that time when you were studying Reasonable Doubt, studying Illmatic. You were heavily influenced by Mos Def, and you could hear their rhyme patterns very clearly in what you were doing,
Yeah.
and you took that out onto the competitive circuit. It would get that would filter it out of you, because people would that would be the target, right? People would be like, "Yo, you a Most Def clone. You sound like Jay. You know what I mean? Blah blah blah." And it would motivate you now to take a look at that and filter it out of yourself, further, right? So it's still the same water, but it's passing through the filter, and now it's filtered out, so it's not so blatant that and that's what competition does. That's what the competition does for you. If nobody's competing, it just feels like you're comfortable. You can be that guy. You can be that guy. It's no problem.
I mean,
Yo, what up, Jess?
I don't how do I put
We're
this?
talking about rap. This one of Jess. I haven't seen you in forever. I hope you're good.
Um like I do not buy the idea that you can only there's only the pressure to grow and the pressure to evolve and the pressure to challenge yourself under competition and under like trying to beat someone else. I don't buy that premise because like for me I have like here's my where my own ego comes into play. Like I don't think most people have as good taste as I do. So like I'm less concerned about what somebody else thinks about my work. I'm really trying to satisfy my own taste. I'm really trying to say like, oh, this is the bar that I hold myself at. Like that, like exactly what I was saying about like when everybody's like, oh, I gotta beat this rapper from this next town over. I'm like, I'm trying to beat the guy who's the best wrestler in the state or in the country or in the world. You know what I mean? I'm trying to beat the best wrestler who ever lived. That's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So
All right.
when it's like it's like when we're going to battle, it's like I'm gonna enter into this challenge honorably and I'm gonna do the best I can. But like I'm battling Rakim and Pharaoh Monch and Rock Marciano and Eminem and Hollow the Dawn. I'm not really concerned about you. Like if you're able to defeat me, it's further proof that I have more work to do. But like I'm not gonna fixate on you. I'm gonna fixate on the highest possible place that this art form could be at. I don't even like to use those kind of words, but you know what I mean? I'm
No,
focused
I
on
see where you're
that,
coming from. Yeah.
on like the best version of Precious Gorgeous that I can be. And like
Right.
and 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 the other thing, like I become like very obsessed with this comedian Gary Shandling.
Hmm.
He did this show, the Larry Sanders Show. He also did a show called It's a Gary Shandling Show. Like he's a mentor to like Kevin Nealon, Jim Carrey, David Duchovny, Judd Apatow. Like he mentored a bunch of comedians, and he had a
Yeah.
really big career in his own right, right? And his big thing was Judd Apatow did like a 4 hour documentary about him. That's how influential this guy was. And like if you like The Office or 30 Rock or any of those kind of shows, Arrested Development, they wouldn't exist if this guy didn't exist. Like he invented that form. So even the original British Office, like Ricky Gervais looks up to Gary Shandling. So anyway,
Hmm.
but this guy was like, his big thing was like Judd Apatow did this 4 hour documentary about his diaries that he kept his whole career, and he never ever talked about competition or trying to be better. His whole thing all the time was, as a Buddhist, he was like, I'm doing comedy to learn how to be myself, to learn who I am. And so all I'm working on all the time is how do I be the most Gary that I can be all the time. Who am I? What am I about? What do I love? What do I really think is funny? What is true to me? What is the joke that I can tell that nobody else would tell? Not that it's better than somebody else, but it's great because only I, of all people in the world, would tell this joke. And so like that, when I heard that, that really hit me because I felt like that's what I was always trying to say is like I'm trying to write the rap that only I would think of. Not I'm not trying to be better than somebody else because then I feel like I'm trying to cross into your realm and like I could do your style better than you, blah blah, whatever, this and
Right.
that.
Right.
And like that's cool and that's a great strength too to be a chameleon. But like as an artist,
So
I'm trying to be so myself that when you hear that, it's like I could read certain rappers' raps and go, oh, that's DMX,
right.
that's Pharaoh Monch, that's Kendrick, you know what I mean? And it's unmistakable.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do, you know.
So I think I see it then, because I totally agree with you. By the way, I totally agree with you. Well said. I think we're looking at the difference. We got to make the distinction between toxic competition and, I guess, not toxic competition.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you could be in the mindset that you just described
Mm-hmm.
and compete from that place and be a hell of a competitor. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, if you're out there doing the thing that only you can do, then I mean you're pretty much gonna be kind of unfuckwittable on some level.
Yes.
It's gonna take somebody else who's at that place to really go toe to toe, battle wits with a character on that level, right?
Yeah, I'm interested in how you see the like the I guess the paradigm you're imagining, because to me in my mind every rapper is like a painter, you know what I mean? And they're just painting their vision of the world. I don't see it. I don't see my work as in competition with anybody else's. Like the only thing I'm competing for perhaps is like if we were real estate agents or something, like I'm competing for real estate, but I have no interest in like
See, I think the thing is in hip hop originally, anyway. I think in actual hip hop that existed outside, right? Not on television. That that what you were describing is what the crowd was genuinely looking for.
sure, sure.
So that was how you were being judged. You feel me?
Hmm.
So the guy who is able to do that, the crowd is looking at him and saying, "Yeah, that's the guy. He's got it." And and if both guys are on that level, then then you're in for a treat. That's a great battle. All right, you're witnessing something great. But that's the competition. And I feel like both parties in that situation, it's not going to be toxic.
Yo,
they're gonna
Jordan,
respect each other. They're gonna respect each other after that. But the point is you need that. You need that competition. You need that.
I
The
see.
game needs it. The people need it. The game needs it. The artist needs it. The culture needs it.
I really so like I really what is I gonna say? I've heard that argument before of like this is how it started. Two MCs got on there and there was blah blah, which is number one. I don't even know. Well, I guess because the DJ would be competing, right? And then the rapper would be up there like hyping up the DJ. But my thing is like we become like, and I think it's the point I try to make when I say like I do not hold Reasonable Doubt and Illmatic as those guys' best albums. Not even near the top for me. Like they're
You
somewhere in the
crazy.
middle. They're
You're
somewhere in the middle
crazy.
for me.
You're
But to
crazy.
me, I've let go of any adherence or allegiance to anything traditional. Like I don't. I'm not holding on to something just because traditionally this is what it was. Because especially like in something like hip hop, we've like things evolved and we've evolved so far past where it started, and I don't like to confuse um, something that was functional in the beginning of something for being the essence of something. You know what I mean? Like whatever
Interesting. I
whatever
like
the
that.
whatever the rappers were trying to communicate and the DJs were trying to communicate at the beginning through those battles, that's the only form that existed to express hip hop. But that doesn't mean that that's its ultimate expression. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And maybe we haven't reached that ultimate expression. But to me, like you're not gonna as exciting as the battle might have been in 81, you know, when it was happening in the Bronx, you're not gonna tell me that it's not comparable to Pimp a Butterfly or comparable to 444. You know what I mean? Or you're not going to tell me that E40 still being relevant at 50 years old, he is strictly abiding by that tradition, not spiritually abiding to it. You know what I mean? I think the way somebody like an E40 is abiding to it or a Snoop is abiding to it is more spiritually. This is what they were trying to get at, and so I'm getting to that. I'm not going to literally
Okay.
do what they
So,
do what
so,
they
so
did.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you
Okay.
this then, because I think that's an important point. And so, who do you think? So, in the generation after Kendrick and J. Cole, who's abiding by that spirit?
Oh man, let me see. Who am I listening to? I mean, I would say the generation after them includes Griselda, includes Rock Marciano predates them, um, but Griselda is like new onto the world stage, even though they're
So, yeah,
older. Like
kind of an
like
exception.
I have to
I would
call
regard
Drake
them as.
and Kendrick my elders because if I'm able to get into the game like this year, they are 10 years before me,
Yeah,
even though
yeah,
I'm older than both of them. You know
yeah,
what I mean? They're
hmm
my OGs. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Which is crazy to say, but it's true. But I would say like I would say definitely, even though he's right after them, I would definitely say like a Danny Brown. I would definitely say like a Vince Staples. I would definitely say like a G Herbo. I would definitely say Denzel Curry. I would definitely say King
Mm.
Rhapsody, even though Ninth and Guru be real hip hop and they're out. I would definitely say what's her name, Tierra Whack. I would definitely say this girl Chica who just came out. I would definitely say
Okay.
Anderson .Paak for sure be busting people's
Yeah,
ass.
yeah,
I already
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
having a
Okay.
really nerdy rap hip hop talk right here in here. Um, but I would definitely say a lot of those people, Tyler, even though Tyler's kind of the same generation as those guys.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I
Fair
mean, there's a
enough.
lot of people.
Fair enough. And
Even
you
like
don't
the
think
trap rappers, like I would say the Baby, I would say Lil Baby, I would say the Migos for sure. I would say Cardi B for sure. I would say like uh uh like I feel like there's a lot of people I would give that to. XXX before he passed, I would say he was, and not to say that I love these people's music, but I really feel like they, whatever taste level they were at, whatever skill level they were at, they were going at it hard to be something great, you know.
right, right, right.
Whether it was for me or not, and I really, oh man, a lot of these young street rappers too. My old Droog, Mike Homie,
Right, right, right.
Lions.
Yeah, yeah. Those
Um,
guys are in that kind of Griselda type lane. Yeah.
right. They're
Right, right.
they're coming at it hard. They're doing
See,
very
I,
nice
I
things.
guess I guess I just, and you know, again, I want to make the distinction between toxic competition and just healthy competition,
Mm.
which is that I feel like the game would benefit and the music would benefit if you had more guys who were aspiring to get to that A level so that they didn't feel they were competing from an insecure place, because I think that's kind of what I hear you describing, and I agree should be discouraged, because if a person is coming from that insecure place of I'm trying to be better than, I'm trying to prove I'm better than A, B, or C, that's not gonna that's not gonna ultimately get them to the next level. But if they're just coming from the place of okay, I'm fully realized, I'm doing something now that I know nobody else can do, and now I'm just chopping off whoever's head that wants to step up, not in a toxic way, but just me being me. I feel
Yeah,
like I can put me up against whoever, and then on the other side, if the other guy has the same mentality, that's hella entertaining. Number one, for us as fans, but number two, I think it everyone else that's watching within the culture, just being able to witness that, they're gonna have to feel like if they're not at that level, if they're not on the level to be on that stage having that kind of back and forth, then they got work to do. You know what I mean?
I feel a
It
lot of,
lifts the rising tide lifts all boats, like that lifts up
but that's what,
everybody.
but I think we're saying opposite things then, because to me the rising tide lifts all boats means that if everybody's eating and everybody's doing well, then all the boats are lifted, you know. Um, like to me, one of the dopest hip hop moments I've seen recently. I think I went back. It was retroactive, so I think it was probably like 2018. Um, I think it was Meek Mill wanted to do a freestyle. It was right after he came out of jail, and he was talking to Flex, and he said, "Yo, put that beat on that I asked you for." And he was like, Flex was like, "Okay, this is how we doing it. This is how we doing it," and he put it on. It was back to back. And Meek Mill said, hey, before we do this, be clear. I talk to Drake every night. That's my homie. I called him. I said, yo, I'm sorry, man. I was bugging. I apologize to Drake. I called Game. I apologize to Game. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was bugging. You know what I mean? He, like I just thought he got over on me on this beat, and I want to go ahead and do something to this beat. Now, to me, when I look at that, to me, I'm like, that is hip hop. That is the dopest expression of the game. That to me is way, not that I didn't enjoy back to back or I didn't really like Meek's responses, but you know what I mean? Like And to further the point, like to this day, I haven't heard Story of Adidon or Duppy Freestyle. I just refuse to listen to it, like because both them dudes dropped probably as good records as either of them have dropped in their career, and then it was all overshadowed by this nasty personal battle that almost became
Mm,
violent. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, and really, those are two dudes that should be getting money together. Like, I don't understand why they're not getting money
Mm,
together and now they're doing all this. You know what I mean? Like, what did it say? What did uh, Drake say? He said something. He's like, I was a bitter guy when I was writing views. Like, he says himself, he gets caught up in these beefs. But like to me, my favorite, even though I love how you went on Meek's head, my favorite moments is when Kid Cudi went to the fucking mental ward, and Drake was like, I don't joke about that. I wish him all the best. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Those are the
right.
moments to me that oh, that's a man. That's what a boss. This is the last point I'll make. It is along those same lines. To me, one of my favorite, I have a couple favorite Jay-Z moments. One, which I think is the most important hip hop moment of the last 20 years, is the I Declare War concert when he brought out Nas.
Mm,
To me, I think that's the most important, maybe the most important moment in all of hip hop, besides the
yeah,
creation of it.
it
And
is.
and then two, I love in the Rock Boys video. He said in the part of that video, he said this type of talk is only reserved for the bosses. You see the camera, and you see who looks up, and it's Jay, it's Diddy, it's Nas, and maybe it's somebody else, and they're just all hanging in there chilling. They all look up together. Like to me, that's what a boss is. A boss is a
Right.
man who can put his ego aside and make peace, not out of fear, but out of knowing that this is for the greater good. You know.
See, I think that's where we could agree then. That's where we could agree. Because I agree. That's probably maybe the most important moment, certainly of modern hip hop, is when Jay brought out Nas. But it showed us that, and even though that battle did get a little personal and a little nasty, that the two top guys could clash and say at the end of the day, it's all records. It was hip hop. It's not something we're gonna take any further personally. We good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that, and I think that sent a signal to everybody that yo, you can do this at this level on this stage and be good, like and not have it have to be something else, like a Biggie Tupac situation. It could just be a we did it for the culture, we clashed. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm all for that. I'm all for like organized, like let's go in and do it for pay-per-view, blah blah, and shake hands at the end of it. There's another dope thing I seen where it was just a battler. I don't follow battle rap that much, but there was a battler named Pat Stay and
I
Hollow
don't know
Don,
him.
and they just did it like a live. They didn't even really talk. They talked about battling, but they both were just. It was recent. They were talking about like they both have addictions, and they were just like talking
Mm,
on live just about their addictions, and they posted that shit live for people to see it, and I was just like blown away by like both of their commitment to being like we need to talk openly about this because we have so many people who follow us who struggle with this. Like to
mm,
me, like that is to me, yeah,
yeah.
that to me is like what that that to me is what Melly Mel was trying to get to. You know what I mean? And so when
Right.
people are like, "Oh, it's a competitive blah blah," I'm just like, I don't.
It's
To
just
me,
one
that's like,
aspect. It's
yeah,
just one aspect. It's just one aspect.
yeah, and
And
that's cool. But when people, oh, it's a contact sport, I'm like, bro, I don't. I feel like they're holding on too hard to that one part and missing the fullness of what this thing can be. To
yeah,
say that's one important part, I get that. But to say like, nah, we gotta go in. It's like, yo, what does that have to do with Smile on 444? You know what I
I
mean?
think I think I get what about it makes you feel that way.
Yeah,
I definitely
and I'm
get
not even
it.
talking like even like important records. Like, what does that have to do with ODB's feature on Fantasy with Mariah Carey? You know what I mean? A great moment. Like what does that have to do with that? That like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get that. Um,
Right, right. No, yeah, I get it. I get it. I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. I think at the end of the day, though, we do got to remember. those guys came out of a competitive environment where they knew before they stepped out onto a public stage, they had to be sharp enough, confident enough, because they were being watched by 100 prying eyes of people who were going to detect every insecurity and frailty. And if it leaked out, that was it for them. You know what I mean? So it was about encouraging the guy who was truly confident, not confident in the show sense, but confident in the true spiritual sense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think we're in agreement on that. I don't, I definitely don't have the definitive answer, but I don't know that that kind of confidence, that kind of like true essential confidence comes from, oh, I'm better than everybody.
Right.
That's
No,
that's
no, it
shaky,
doesn't.
you
It
know.
doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. But you could have fun with it, with that, with another person who's at that level. You know, you can have fun with that idea. And I think it's
Yeah.
unfortunate for a lot of people who are watching are in a different place. And so they'll take something very different and toxic from watching that,
Mm,
which they might spill out. But for the two
mm,
guys doing it, if they're at the right place, they're going to say, we're just having fun with this.
right, right, right. Yeah, and like, I guess, and we could, yeah, I like I've had this a similar conversation before, and I always try to be clear. Like, I'm not trying to come at this like I'm sort of saint who doesn't have an ego, who doesn't, you know what I mean, who doesn't, you know, like the homie Brooklish put out a verse the other day, and I was like, oh shit, this nigga went in. Oh, he's going in like that. You know what I mean? It's not to say that I don't have an ego or anything like that, but I do try to immediately uh uh what's the word I'm looking for? Locate and identify and really be honest with myself about what it is I'm feeling and like where it's coming from and how can it be of use to me. And like and the last part is like I've become very, like I was saying about Drake and Pusha, like I've become very sensitive about that because it's like I know Drake is a light skinned dude from Canada, but like he's still a black man at the end of the day. And it's like, why
Mm,
are we happy with any sort of division, any sort of um mode where we're tearing each other down to gain like that? That's all crab bucket mentality. Like, and we can, like you were saying, all the boats can rise at the same time. Like, so any I, I try to really, my enjoyment of hip hop really exists outside of that, outside of any consideration of like things being competitive, except for like a very healthy like a competition where you are open about your admiration and enjoyment of the other person. Um,
right.
I'm like immersed in hip hop. I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at it. I'm talking about it. I'm listening to it. I'm in it all the time, and like I don't deal with that part of it. So when people are like, "That's an essential part," I'm like, "Well, what have I been doing for 20 years?" Because like, or at least the last 10, because like that really doesn't figure into my experience. I don't,
Mm,
you know, I think the people around me can attest to that. Like, it's not the like, you know, I have ego. You know that I'm a snob. Like, I have, but I'm not. I really try to stay away from anything that's gonna make my brother feel like he's not the like try to separate my brother from his feeling of his greatness. You know what I mean?
right.
I don't, I don't, I don't want to be part of anything like that.
I can dig it. I can
Yeah.
dig it. I can dig it. Yeah, man. Well, this is a good one. This is a good one.
Perfect. I'm screen recording this. Is it okay with you if I post this?
Yeah, you can post. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm gonna give you your credit. Yeah, this. Thank you so much. I'm trying to like do
Hey,
as much of this.
Branson.
Yeah, Brandon's in here. I'm trying to do as much of this as possible, just because I love. This is like a new. How do I put it? Like, this is what I've always felt like. Text has always been like the source of like terrible arguments for me, and like being able to talk things out face to face has always been a source of like understanding, and you're able to listen, and like this like this like public civil discourse. It didn't have to be public, but this civil discourse that's what I'm on right now. Like,
Nah, it's dope. It's dope.
you
It's
know,
dope.
it's
It's
really a
dope.
beautiful thing. So thank you for agreeing to go on live with me.
No problem, bro. Anytime, anytime. When we get a good topic, I'm always down to go.
Nice, nice.
All
All right. That's
right, yo.
Frank
Take
Knuck,
it.
Low Spot. Frank, have a good
Peace.
night, everybody. Peace.